Some of the most powerful figures in modern technology and culture, including Steve Jobs, traveled across the globe to a remote Himalayan ashram. The man they were looking for was born as Laxman in 1900. By the age of 12, he had run away from his family to live as a monk, dedicating himself to the Hindu deity Hanuman. He never incorporated a business, wrote a book, or launched a PR campaign. He spent most of his life wearing a simple blanket. His influence grew from hundreds of independent eyewitness accounts describing feats that appear to bypass the standard laws of physics. This diagram visualizes a boundary line described in Vedic texts. On one side is standard human perception. On the other is a threshold called a siddhi. We're going to look at the evidence to see which side his life actually occupies. Take the incident at a local barbershop. While getting a shave, the Baba heard the barber mention his missing son. Mid-shave, with soap still on his face, he suddenly stood up and vanished, leaving the chair empty. About a minute later, he reappeared in the shop and sat back down. The next day, the barber's son returned home, reporting that the Baba, still covered in shaving cream, had handed him money to travel home from a village 100 kilometers away. Looking at this map scale, we see the physical distance between the two locations, 100 kilometers. Traversing this instantly is teleportation, a concept confined to quantum mechanics. Adding our time to distance overlay, the math shows the impossibility of covering that ground in under 2 minutes. But in Vedic texts, this is a recognized siddhi, an ability earned through decades of accumulated deep meditative penance. This incident forces a choice. Either we discard multiple independent eyewitness accounts as impossible, or we admit that our standard physical model cannot explain these specific coordinates. Long before the barber shop, the Baba spent his early years meditating in a subterranean cave in Uttar Pradesh. He sat entirely motionless, completely covered by live, unbothered, venomous snakes. He warned the locals to stay out, but a young village boy named Gopal accidentally wandered in. Struck by the sheer terror of the sight, the boy collapsed. His heart stopped, and he died on the cave floor. The Baba followed the commotion outside. He sat next to the lifeless body, closed his eyes, and simply placed his hand on Gopal's head. The boy's eyes snapped open, and he stood up, breathing normally. For the villagers, this specific act erased the line between man and myth. They immediately elevated him from a devoted monk to the living incarnation of the monkey god Hanuman. This perceived mastery over life and death shifts the stakes. His followers no longer saw him as a mystic practicing ascetic disciplines. They viewed him as a biological manifestation of the divine, operating completely outside the rules of human biology. By 1967, stories of these events reached the West. Richard Alpert, an American professor, arrived in India as a representative of academic logic, actively searching for the mechanics behind spiritual states. As a psychologist, Alpert had a controversial method. He was administering psychedelics like LSD to his patients, trying to artificially force the human brain to experience spiritual awakening. When Alpert met Neem Karoli Baba, he decided to test the mystic's authenticity. He handed the Baba a massive, potentially lethal dose of LSD, enough to incapacitate any normal person. The Baba swallowed the pills. Alpert waited for a reaction, but nothing happened. The Baba remained completely lucid, entirely unaffected by the massive chemical payload in his bloodstream. Instead of hallucinating, the Baba delivered a lesson. He told Alpert that a true master of mental discipline and yogic knowledge doesn't need chemical shortcuts to alter their consciousness. Facing a biological result he couldn't explain, Alpert abandoned his previous identity and eventually transformed into the global spiritual teacher Ram Dass. This biological result provided the bridge that integrated Eastern ascetic practices into the mainstream of Western psychological thought. On September 11, 1973, his physical health rapidly declined, and he was transferred to a hospital. The clinical medical conclusion was straightforward. Despite diagnostic reports showing everything was completely normal, his body weakened and his heart stopped beating. But his disciples documented a different reality. They believed his physical decline happened because he spent a lifetime absorbing the illnesses of millions of followers. They pointed to the complex Vedic concept of Mahasamadhi. This is the conscious, intentional decision by a fully realized yogi to permanently shed their physical body when their work is done. For his loyal devotees, dying of biological illness doesn't invalidate his status. It is the final proof of absolute agency over death. 4 decades after his physical death, the Kainchi Dham ashram remains a center of global influence. Modern devotees continue to travel there, and many report experiencing his direct presence and guidance while in states of deep meditation. His life presents a strict choice. We must either view him as a literal, living God, or as a master of human psychology and physiology with capabilities we haven't begun to measure. Ultimately, his legacy is a data point showing that global influence can be established entirely through the way one manages their own mind and body.